Hello everyone, well, welcome back to the third episode of Hot Tamales. I am your lovely, wonderful host, Zoe Hermie. In this episode, I shall be teaching you how to make guacamole with lovely avocados and other ingredients. So I guess we should get started then. So guacamole dates back all the way back to Aztec times, so around the 15th century. Avocados were the Aztecs' favorite fruit at the time, so they had used it in a lot of their cooking and a lot of their meals. Originally, guacamole was avocados, chilies, and also tomato. It eventually developed into adding more things like cilantro, lime, onions, which now a lot of people just add whatever they prefer in their guacamole. Like, I personally hate limes in my guacamole, but a lot of people love them. Or they add jalapenos. It's really of what you want in your guacamole, which really just makes it kind of special. So this is what my family makes for whenever we make guacamole. Hello, welcome to Hand View Zoe. So what we're gonna need is a ripe avocado. You should be able to find out the right if they're like brown, maybe a bit green, but not too green, and they're a bit squishy, I guess you could say. A tomato. We have onion powder or onion powder or onions. I'm using onion powder since we don't have any onions that I can cut up right now. And then garlic, and then salt. Love salt. And that's really all you need, and like a knife and what is this, a fork? So what we're gonna start off with is cutting up the avocado. I'm just using a paring knife. You can really use any knife. You can use one with serrated edges if you'd like. I'm just using a paring knife since I know I'm gonna be cutting slices from the avocado, since it's gonna make it easier to mash, I guess you could say. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut down the entirety around the avocado to the nut, so you can just twist it and you have 2 halves of the avocado. You can see that it's a bit brown in there, nothing to concern yourself about. So to get the nut out, what you're gonna do is usually, I don't like doing this, you hit the nut with the knife really hard and then you turn and then you throw it away. But I don't like doing that, so you can also just use the knife and then just pop it on out. Like so. Like, you just go into it a bit and then pull it out. It's a lot safer. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna cut slices, just so when I take it out of the actual shell, I guess you could say, casing, it's gonna be easier for me to mash. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Like so. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it at the top. But that is what I'm gonna do. Then usually I do this with a spoon, but I don't have a spoon right now, so I'm just gonna actually just carve it out. Like I'm scooping pumpkin seeds out of a pumpkin. What you can do next is you can mash this until it's like, I guess you could say a paste. To the point where it's just like, you know, like almost chunky paste, I guess you could say. Not fried. And I have a different knife just because, you know, different knife. And I'm just gonna, I don't need a lot of it, so I'm just gonna cut my tomato in half so I can save this for later. And then I'm just gonna cut the end off. And I'm just going to, okay, these knives are not sharp. Slices. Okay, these are not sharp knives. Do you see this? Ah! I'm not a fan of this knife. Maybe I'm just gonna cut it in half. I'm just gonna cut it in half since my knife is not sharp enough. Usually I'd cut it in thinner slices instead of like fourths. But this is what I'm working with right now because my knives aren't sharp enough. For me, I'm just gonna add this half of my tomatoes into my bowl of guacamole here. Just like so. This all on the table. And you can either mix that up now or you can wait. I'm just gonna wait. Alright, so I am back. I've cleaned off my board a bit and I've cleaned my knife, so I'm gonna go ahead and move into the garlic portion. So with this, I was unsure if I wanted to use a bigger clove of garlic or a smaller clove, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put the smaller clove off to the side. I'm gonna use this bigger clove. It's like the size of a knuckle for me. Nothing too big. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it under my knife. I'm just gonna hit it so I can get the skin off, I guess you could say. I'm just gonna throw that skin away. All right, so I'm back naked with a naked garlic. I'm just gonna cut the end off on both ends. Oh my god, I love the smell of garlic. There's one thing you should know about me, I love garlic. So basically what you're gonna wanna do, oh god, I wish I had a different knife, is you're gonna wanna try to mince the garlic. If you have a garlic press, you can use that too. I'm just gonna use a mincing, I guess, method and cut it until it's very fine. All right, so I'm back. This is the size that I'm pretty much happy with, that I'm gonna put into my bowl for my guacamole. You can see I still have my tomatoes on top. You can see how much tomatoes I put in there compared to how much garlic I'm gonna be putting in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing that I did with the tomatoes and just toss it right on in. And that'll be it for your cutting. So I'm just gonna chuck my knife off in there. So I'm gonna push my cutting board off to the side. So here we are with our amazing guacamole that we have so far. So I'm just gonna sort of mix most of what we have in here, which is our tomatoes and our garlic and then our avocado. I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks right now. You can see the tomatoes right on top there. Pretty easy stuff. Alright, so what we're gonna need next is our salt. I'm just gonna move on to salt next. You can actually do any of these in any order. I just suggest that you do the avocado first and add everything in. I'm gonna do salt. I'm gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Alright, so next I'm going to do our onion powder, which is going to be my last step. Maybe not necessarily yours, but I'm also going to do 1/4 teaspoon. Just throw it right on in there and then just stir it on it. Now, the most important part of making guacamole is catering it to your taste. So what any good chef does is you take it, a bit of it on your finger, and you taste it. And this is some of the better guacamoles that I have made. And you can pair this with any good chip. And that is how you make a good guacamole.